coaching. Coaching.
And that's that thing where I think we start with a human base and then go, okay, so explain this to me because I'm missing this. And I value you, I respect you, I love your opinions. I want you to tell me how you see this so different than I do so that we can find some kind of resolution to this.
I think that's a really interesting point, actually. When you're the voice in the room that is the only voice of dissent, and I've been that many times in some of the situations, because I used to work in government and politics, and the people around you seem like they're actually going insane, and you're saying that's just not gonna work. What are you doing? How can you, because what this breeds then is maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should not have as much confidence. Maybe I'm actually wrong. Maybe I should just join the group, and then that pull to join the group gets stronger and stronger. How can you kind of stay with what you think is right, but not drive yourself into a really bad place with it?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think one is that's a factor of leadership, and I think you do need a leader who says, "Hey, I value you being that lone voice. I need you being that lone voice." And I think the other side of that is, excuse me, is that we need to realize that in any group dynamic, 80% of the group is going to go with the flow. Now, after they leave the room, they're going to go, "That's the dumbest idea. I can't believe we do that." But in the room, they're going to go, "Oh yeah, let's do that. That's great. That's great. That's great." And so you need that person who says, "Hey, you know what? No, this isn't right." And you, as that lone voice, you need to understand that the majority of the room is going to go whichever way the room goes, and they're not going to speak up. And so you can sometimes feel that everyone else is insane and you're the only one who's thinking about this logically. But you need to remember that most of that group, if the leader says, "Hey, you know what, Marie's right, maybe we should go in that direction," all of a sudden that 80% can go, "Oh yeah, Marie's right. Yeah, that was a great idea, Marie."
That's a bit demotivating though, isn't it? Because because of, like we were talking about earlier, the group dynamics, it's more than likely if the leaders intimated the decision, or one of the people in the group that's higher up or more popular has made a decision, it's more than likely that they're going to go in that direction anyway, which can leave you feeling demotivated and thinking, well, why should I hang on to my integrity if the group is just going to do what the group wants to do?
I see that, but I also think that's about having a trust and an openness. And when and again, as a leader, you walk that fine line of, I want you to be that voice. I respect your opinion. I need you in here. But you also, the times you feel that, I think your ego plays a big part in this, is, why are you always pushing back on me? I'm the leader. I know what I'm doing. I'm right. But we're not always right. And so I do think, I think that's when it's important, because I understand what you're saying about it gets demoralizing, but I also think it's important as the leader to come and just say, "Hey, I respect you. I appreciate you. You're invaluable to where we're going as an organization. I know sometimes you don't feel like it. You feel like you're the only one and that we're all ganging up on you. And I don't know how I help you with that, but I'm going to find a way to help you with that. Let's talk about that, because I want to make sure that your voice stays in that room, because I need your voice. That's what makes us better, is your voice."
I'm going to be honest, I've met zero leaders in my entire life that have actually done anything that you've said. Do you think that do you think this is a widespread trait, or do you think it's something that people really do need to learn?
I think that we all have a fear of making a mistake and being seen as being wrong. And I think that's taught into us at an early age. And I think we get into a habit of it, and it's a very hard habit to break. And so even as a leader, it's that, hey, I don't need you pushing back on me, because I know what I'm doing. And because we don't want to be seen as being wrong, or having the rest of, having the 80% who aren't willing to speak up look and go, does he really know what he's doing? She seems a lot smarter. Maybe we should be following her and not him. And so that's that ego thing that we build ourselves into, and that toxic of, I have to be seen as being right. I have to be seen as being the smartest person in the room. And we all know that phrase, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And you need to be around people that are constantly challenging your thinking, because it makes you smarter. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means you go, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that point. that's a good point of view. I need to kind of view it from that perspective and see if I still believe in this belief. And, especially in today's social media world, in the media world, it's the mainstream media world, it's more about echoing what is being said than it is pushing back on something. And to go, hey, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. And nobody wants to admit that, but you know what, I was wrong. And I need someone to point that out to me. And being secure enough in yourself and in your relationship with your group to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to make mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes, but we're trying to get better as a group. And part of us being better as a group is, I need you people to speak up. And if you don't agree with something, I need you to go, hey, I don't agree. Because if you don't, then we're going to make a lot more mistakes.
Cumulative Coaching is set up to offer mentoring, coaching and courses in leadership, negotiation and soft skills. If you're interested in finding out more about what Cumulative Coaching has to offer you, you can get in touch via Facebook, Instagram, you can type Cumulative into Google, you can email us on cumulativecoaching@gmail.com or go to our website at cumulativecoaching.com. That's cumulativecoaching.com. So as we're kind of coming up to the hour, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about, because I see every day your positivity stuff on Instagram, and it really does push back against beliefs, and I saw one today and yesterday where you're pushing back really against beliefs that we hold that might not necessarily be serving us very well. What do you kind of, when you're writing these things, what is your aim when you're kind of putting these captions together for your Instagram for people that are reading them?
Well, it's funny. As you and I talked about the first time we talked, I never thought I'd still be writing these things. It's been over 3 years now. And what inspires me and what keeps me going is people like you who say, you know what, I got something out of that, benefited from it. And that's a nice plug for my ego. It makes me feel good, but it also knows that I'm helping people, and that really means a lot. And I think my life mission is to help people live a better life. And if something I write helps you have a better day, then I've lived my mission today. And I'm very happy with that. I can lay my head down on my pillow and sleep well tonight. But I think one of the things I really try and be very conscious of when I'm writing this stuff is always framing it as we and us and never you, because I think then you start to get to an accusatory thing of you do this wrong and you do this wrong. I mess up every day a lot, and trying to find that commonality of we all struggle with these issues. We all struggle with anxiety. We all struggle with imposter syndrome. We all struggle with I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. They're going to see I'm a fraud. We all deal with that, every one of us. And understanding that I'm not alone in those feelings, I think really helps a lot. And that negative toxicity we were talking about earlier, I think it's really easy to get dragged down into that and just feel like the whole world is against you, that I'm never going to make it. I don't even know why I get out of bed in the morning. And I think it's really easy to roll up in a ball and do that. But when you realize, hey, you know what? Marie deals with this, and Carol deals with this, and Mike deals with this, and realizing that, hey, you know what? we're all going through the same stuff, and they're okay every day. So I can get up and I take a breath, and I'm gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay today. And I think that's one of the things I try and really push across to people is that anyone who's not pulling with you, you need to get them out of your life. And anything that doesn't serve you to help you live the life you want to live, you need to cut it out of your life.
Some things are bad habits though, aren't they, as well? Like people say, oh, I'm not watching the news, and then they'll click on the news and watch it because they want that kind of fear or excitement or drama. And I stopped watching the news years ago because I was like, this is absolute nonsense. And I noticed within a couple of weeks my kind of attitude and mental health just went straight up. It was way better because instead of, and I think it's the stuff that you put in your head as well. If you're putting stuff in your head that is horrible and toxic and fear inducing and nasty and telling you all about the worst of humanity, you're going to just really hate everything and everybody.
Sure.
And if you kind of get that out and you put good stuff in there and you read books and you learn and you're curious and you're talking, because it's like you say, if you go outside and you talk to people, it's never, the news doesn't really exist at that point, because the person's just getting on with their life, and the news, the nuclear war or whatever that's in the news is not happening. So how can we kind of build better habits towards a better mindset?
I think you have to remind yourself on a regular basis about that. And I think you have to, I think there are ways to do it. One of the ways that I have found is I journal a lot, and that helps me tremendously. And right now I'm keeping 3 different journals. One is kind of a business, kind of more like a planner journal. One is just a free flow, whatever comes out of my pen that day comes out of my pen. And some of it can be pretty nasty stuff, and it's just and that one there's no punctuation, there's no syntax to it. It's just I just write. And then the last one I do is a gratitude journal. And in that, what's helped me a lot with that is going deeper into why on gratitude. So, for instance, I'm a dog person. So I say, I'm grateful for my dog. Well, why? And writing about why you're grateful for your dog. And I know for me, I've found that I don't like to take pictures of myself. So with Instagram, you got to have a photo that you can put a caption on. And so I always take a picture from the park here in Seattle that has the $1 million view of the skyline of Seattle that you always see in postcards. And so every day I take a picture from that park and standing in the same spot. So that's the day. And then I also try and be aware of my neighbors. I'm walking around of seeing nature, seeing flowers, seeing beautiful things I like in the neighborhood. And so it makes me appreciate where I live a lot more, because I'm more mindful of it. I'm more aware of it as I'm walking through my neighborhood. It's like, oh, that'd be a good picture. I'm gonna take a picture of that, like that. Oh, that's beautiful. And so I think that's part of it too, is, as you said, we find what we seek. And if you seek negativity, you can find it really easy. You don't have to look very hard. But you also can find a lot of things to be positive about, and a lot of things to go, hey, you know what? My life is pretty good. I have a great life. I have great people around me. I live in a great space. Life is good. And that's easy to find too, but you have to look for it. And you have to remind yourself to look for it.
It feels like it's kind of easy to also get addicted to kind of negativity as well, and kind of when you keep getting into the negative mindset, it kind of gets addicting, and then you end up in a victim mindset where everything's really bad and you're the victim of everything. And I found that when people talk to me about that is the hardest thing that they find to get out of, and that also in terms of leadership can cause huge problems in teams. If you're in kind of a victim mindset, how can you kind of identify that and then move out of it efficiently? Because a lot of people get told, you're depressed, you've got anxiety, but actually they're just in a place where they've just absorbed so much negativity that they just cannot get back out of it. How can you kind of, especially a victim mindset is just a compound of just toxicity and negativity and low confidence and low self-esteem. So you're talking about a huge amount of stuff there. How can you, obviously kind of looking around for things that you enjoy and that are beautiful help, but what else can you maybe do?
Well, I think one thing is if that's a chronic problem for somebody, you need professional help. And I think that the stigmatism is changing, but it's not changing nearly enough and not fast enough. And I know for me, I've been in counseling a couple different times, and it always helps me. And you need someone who knows what they're talking about and understands emotions and understands the brain and understands how to help you cope with these things and to get yourself into a better place mentally. And I know that especially for men, I think it's really hard for a man to admit that they have a problem and to seek help in that area. And we have, and I know for me, when I've gone to counseling, it's about a 6-month buildup in my own head to talk me into going, because I still have that mentality of suck it up, stop being a baby, your life isn't bad, put your boots on, go back to work, you got nothing to complain about. And because that's how we're raised. But that's not true. If you have that going on in your brain, you need to have someone who can help you talk through that and work through those things with you. So I think that's a place to start. But I also think, it depends a lot on what you read. And I know when I've looked back over the last almost 2 years now of my life, there have been a lot of things that have happened that have not been pleasant for me. But I don't spend a lot of time thinking about those things. And I know that I haven't dealt with, I've never had cancer. I've never been physically abused. I've never been sexually abused. Those things, these horrible things you hear about people having to go through. I've never had to deal with those things. So it's easy for me to say, oh, you need to be a survivor, not a victim. But I also think if you really look at the people, Viktor Frankl, his famous book, Man's Search for Meaning, talks about that, being a Holocaust. I'm a Holocaust survivor. I'm not a Holocaust victim. And I think that just that changing in words has a huge impact on how you view things. And it's like, you know what? I came through this, and I wish I hadn't, but I have. I have the scars to prove it, and I'm a better person for it now because I know I'm tougher. I can deal with this because I dealt with that and came through it, so I know I can deal with what I'm dealing with now, and I can get in a better frame of mind because I know I'm a survivor. And again, easy for an outsider to say, and when we're going through those things, we really feel like no one has ever gone down this far. No one has ever dealt with this. But then when you really step back and look again, it's like, you look at what people have gone through, genocides, and it's like, yeah, you can survive this. You can. You just need to get up and take another step. And I know it's hard, but nobody's asking you to run the marathon today. Just take a step. That's all you got to do. And tomorrow you take another step. And then I think the most important thing, and it's kind of funny, we're talking today, I just was flipping through some stuff and realized that today was Robin Williams' birthday.
Oh, no.
And I was thinking, I remember after he had died, I saw a news clip with Dennis Miller on it. And Dennis, Robin was always the guy who was always asking about you and how you were and how your life was. And he said, he's always okay. And he said, I never would have thought this would happen. He said, the one thing I would say is, if you get in that spot, you do what you have to do to get to tomorrow. Call somebody. Reach out to somebody. Say, I need help. I'm in a bad spot here. Whatever it takes to get you to tomorrow, because tomorrow will be a new day and you'll have a new perspective and things will change how you view, but you've got to get to tomorrow. And it's easy to get spooled up in our own head and think this is so horribly bad, but it's not. Tomorrow will be a better day. You just have to get to tomorrow.
I think that's amazing advice because, there's so many of us that sit here and complain, and actually some of the guests that I've had on my podcast have gone through hell and back, and then I can sit here and complain, but actually it's nonsense because I've not been through anything like what they've been through, and actually I can't complain at all. And yeah, I might be having a bit of a down day, and we're allowed a down day, but it really is a case of just, if you can get to the end of today, if you can get to tomorrow always does look brighter, and then try and get to the day after that and the day after that. I think there's a difference really with, Robin Williams was fighting like the degenerative disease, and I think some of that is potentially a control thing where you want to control your own life, and the only control that you've got left is what he did. And I actually have quite a lot of respect for that, because he actually did he wanted control, and he took his control, but to actually be in that place where that's the only option left to you must be absolutely horrible. And if you're getting to that position through negativity and toxicity rather than something where you're terminally ill and you maybe have not got long left anyway, I think it's really hard when you've kind of not necessarily self-imposed, but maybe self-imposed the fact that everything's so bad and the negativity is so bad that you just want to give up. And I can see how that can get really overwhelming really quick, especially with the way that the media is and social media is. It plays into all this negativity and fear that we actually have, and it's actually a lot easier these days to get to that place than it was when we were all playing board games outside and running around on bikes. So I don't know if there's an answer for that. I think there's a lot of different situations, but I think your advice is absolutely spot on. Just one foot in front of the other, the next minute, the next hour, the next day, and then see where you've got to kind of at the end of the week, and then professional help, really.
Well, I think one of the things that's important to remember is the number of people who will help you. It truly is mind-blowing. It's if you reach out and say, hey, I need some help, the number of people who will step forward and help you will overwhelm you. but you have to take a step. And I think what a lot of us do is, especially when we're down, is we want to sit down and go, well, no, there's nobody helping me. Well, have you reached out to anybody? Well, no. Okay. It's kind of hard for them to help you if they don't know they need help. And you have to take that first step. And once you take that step, people will walk with you and they will help you. And it's, we all have amazing friends that, and I know I went through this when my mom passed. People that I thought were really good friends, I didn't hear from. People I thought were more like acquaintances came, put their arm around me and said, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. I know you don't feel like it today, but you'll be okay. And you get through this." And I think part of, especially when we deal with death, a lot of people don't say anything because they don't know what to say, and they get paralyzed by that, and they're afraid of saying the wrong things. They don't say anything. And I think it truly is, when you have someone who you're close to who's going through a devastating loss, or someone that's really having a hard time in life, all they really need is to say, you know what, I care about you, you're important to me, I love you, and I'm here to help you any way I can. I don't know what the answers are either, but you know what, I'm here.
I think that's such an amazing point for us to end on. And thank you so much for coming today, Cullen. It's been fantastic talking. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Do you want to give everybody just an indication of where they can find you, and especially where your amazing quotes are?
Sure. So I'm on Facebook, just my name, Cullen Wallace, and then on Instagram, I'm Cullen Wallace Seattle, and so I'm on there, and I post probably about 360 days a year. I don't make every day, but about 360 days a year, and then also on my website, which is really more related to my real estate business, but I update that weekly with my quotes from the past week, and that's just cullenwallace.com.
Well, thank you so much, Cullen. It's been such a pleasure having you on the Kunera channel again, and I hope we'll have you back in the future, because it's amazing to get a dose of positivity.
No, thanks, Maria. I always appreciate the time, and I appreciate your support. You've been fantastic, so thanks so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and apologies about technical difficulties, and then we'll upload this video, and then we'll all be able to watch it, and then hopefully more people will experience positivity.
I hope. All right, thanks, Marie. Have a great day.
You too. Speak to you soon.
Right. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Coaching.